And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the upper semifinals. Welcome back to ESL Open Cup Asia 226. We just wrapped up the lower semis, and Hero is waiting in the grand finals for the winner of this very series. I just gave an update in the chat. We are jumping in mid-series, and we're tied up 1-1. We are tied up 1-1 here in the semifinals. Who will advance on to face off against Hero? We are here to find out. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player representing Cloud9. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss, representing himself, currently teamless, but deserving to be on a team. He 2-0'd Cure already, he 2-0'd Shin, but now is in the ace match. It is NightMare. Let's go. Let us go, as GuMiho is going for a double gas opener. Okay, already mixing it up. Double gas opener is going to lead into a faster factory. It's going to lead into a delayed CC from the likes of GuMiho, so a much more aggressive build from our blue Terran player. Meanwhile, NightMare just going for his gate cyber expand, opting not to go for any kind of Reaper wall-off, as yeah, there are just multiple entrances into the main base here towards the right and the left-hand side. So opting to wall off his mineral line instead. Now, when it comes to game 1 and game 2, we don't know what transpired. I mean, GuMiho is a very aggressive player. He's very unorthodox. He comes up with his own build, so we may have even seen mech. There may have even been mech in this series already, so I don't blame NightMare for going for that Zealot first. It's going to be a Zealot first from NightMare. Pylon already thrown down, and NightMare is moving out. Okay. He is moving out with that first Zealot, settling into his game. Again, we're in the ace match. It all ends here. It all ends on Crimson Court. We will have predictions open for the finals. I had very little time to prepare for the semis, so we just kind of jumped in very quickly. Reaper going to be dancing with that Zealot. Zealot trying to make use of the tall grass. Gets a couple of swipes in. Oh! Gets in a couple of swipes, but NightMare unable to catch it. Yeah, GuMiho getting the better of that Zealot. There's a lot of hits in, but at least we keep the Reaper busy. And Reaper backs off. And here comes the Adept. Here comes the Adept to back up the Zealot. It's going to be a Twilight Council opener from NightMare. Should be Blink. Should be Blink behind this. We'll see how many gateways get thrown down. Could be 1 gate, sorry, could be 2 gate, 3 gate, or 4 gate Blink. As the Adept does shade away. And GuMiho is not going for a 1 base all in. It's going to be a Rax into factory into a CC on the low ground. On location. Getting into that command center. Starport on the way. Are we going for an add-on swap? Are we going for some more Banshee play? Again, Banshees have been quite popular in TVP as of late. But no, we're rushing into a tank. Oh, very fast tank production here out of GuMiho. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, my eyes are definitely on GuMiho here. This could be a medevac opener. I'm curious if we're going for a tank drop. Speaking of, Reapers, they dip into the main. Oh, we do barely escape. And yep, medevac is on the way, so we're going for a tank drop. This is a very aggressive build here from GuMiho. We're moving out initially with our tank, with our medevac, with Marines, with everything we have. To apply some pressure early on. We'll see if NightMare gets caught out or if he's ready for this. Now, Blink is in production. We have 2 gateways initially. So it looks like, yeah, we're getting ready here on the right-hand side. It looks like 2 gate Blink into a 3rd. Looks to be the case, which means translates to economic builds here from NightMare. Not too aggressive. Here comes the tank. Here comes the medevac. Oh, this is a brutal position as well on the other side of this mineral wall. Yeah, we're heading on over. We do catch an Adept as well. So far, no scout on the tank. Stalkers are dragged out of position. And the tank makes its way towards that natural base. Yeah, the pylon is going to go down. We catch a pylon. NightMare going for a 3rd gateway. Let's go. Alongside the 3rd. Good pick up by GuMiho. Supply blocking NightMare as well. Here's a brutal supply block. Blink is done. You can see NightMare moving out across the map. Back at home, we have a tank in position. Remember, early game tank production. So plenty of tanks to work with. As the tank does double back. We're going back into the natural. Where's the army? Uh-oh. We're across the map instead. Observers on the way. With high ground vision, we can dive into the main. We can maybe even pick off Stim. Stim is looking a little bit exposed. The drop doesn't commit. Here comes the observer. The observer does get eyes on the tank. Does get eyes on the Raven. Yeah, the observer is spotted. GuMiho keeping up. Making sure the NightMare does not get into the main base. Second tank has arrived. Stim is now protected. NightMare checking the third base. Again, there's a lot of posturing going on right now. We can actually blink into the natural. And there's no tank. There's no tank on the low ground. We go for the eBay. And we force a cancel. Big pickup. eBay gets canceled. We get 2, 3, almost 4 SCVs. 4 workers, just barely. At the same time, GuMiho dropping across the map. Drops across the map, gets 3 probes. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You're referring to the Reaper Zealot dance in the middle of the map with the tall grass? Yo, that was beautiful. Let's go. As we're trying to intercept GuMiho's drop, we did get 6 workers. The drop will escape. Oh, NightMare barely does miss it. As GuMiho, he threads the needle. Barely gets out. Here comes the rest of the army. And again, because of the early tank production, we don't pull the boys, but we have how many? 4. We have 5 tanks. 5 tanks already with the 7-minute push. That is insane. With the Raven. And Stim. Behind this, there is no third CC, bear that in mind. So this is quite committed. Medevacs are getting caught out. We get 1. We get 2. Yeah, both medevacs will fall. But at the same time, GuMiho, he just walks in between the bases. Rolls on up. Shuts down the shield battery cells. They come in from behind. Oh, the Autotars, they were premature. We get 1 tank. There's still 3 tanks left. And 2 tanks went down, but there's still 3 tanks remaining. We depower the Robo. Stalkers are coming in. Storm is done. Yeah, we storm the tanks. We barely will clean them up. Just barely. That was a lot of tanks falling, but we get 9 probes at the natural. We kill the Robo as well. As the army, is now going to be going down to the Archon, to the Stalkers. Ooh, NightMare holds. But it did cost him a lot. It cost him 11 workers. At the same time, again, looking at the units, also 5 tanks fell. That was 5 tanks going down. That was a lot. GuMiho getting his third base on location. Being a little bit greedy. He's down to 1 tank, by the way. He once had 5. Now he's down to 1. It is going to be here on the high ground. NightMare does have eyes on it. Is aware. This third base is going to be denied. Can we force a cancel? We do kill the SCV. Blink into the main and going for concussive. Going for the tank even. What do you go for? What do we go for? Tank does hold. We try to blink out of here, but there are Marauders in position, and we shut down the Stalkers. Big catch from GuMiho. Very nicely done, Zelts. Yeah, they're a little bit too little too late to join the fight. And the third base will finish. Behind this NightMare, where are we headed? What is our plan? We have Storm, we have the Gateway Explosion finishing up. Autotar harass here in that mineral line. All in all, GuMiho, he is recovering. And NightMare did lose quite a bit in that assault earlier. Can he still punish GuMiho? Can he still break this third base? Again, there's 1 tank on the high ground. We have a couple of Widow Mines. Widow Mine production has commenced. Army's moving out. Okay, there are 4 High Templar. 4 High Templar in the War Prison. That is at least 4 Storms. We're going for a Doom Drop at the wrong moment. We go for the scan. And again, there's not much at home to defend. GuMiho, he does not turn around. He commits. At the same time, NightMare also doesn't push in. He's turning back around. NightMare is racing back home. He gets eyes on the Raven. And 4th base is cancelled. This was a bold move here by GuMiho, but it pays off. As NightMare retreats and the base is denied. Behind this, NightMare just settling into his fourth CC, much faster than the fourth base of NightMare. Okay, GuMiho settling into his fourth, what I meant to say. The game is calming down. We're calming things down, Pat. Again, remember the Robotics Bay was delayed because we had to rebuild the Robo. But now we're working towards Colossus, working towards Disruptors. I've got the Prism! No! The High Templar! Here we dive on as we force out some Storms, and all 4 High Templar are going to be going down. Worth it here for GuMiho. Actually, 1 High Templar does escape. Barely. 1 does make it out. Whew. Quick moves there by NightMare. But that was still brutal. Bleeding out 3 High Templar. Remember, we're not into Colossus yet, but how many High Templar do we have? 9. Jesus. 9 High Templar scattered between the bases. We go Mind Drop towards the left, main army through the center. GuMiho does have that supply lead. Show us the Storms. We snipe at least 1 High Templar. 1 High Templar goes down. We force out a feedback. With a Mind Drop here towards the left-hand side. Mind Shots, they are going to go off. And we do get 4 workers. And we drop into the main. Drop into the main base as well. Good reaction here to NightMare. He does split up his army. Or split up his workers. There's still 1 Widowmine in that drop. And GuMiho didn't push in. I mean, he saw how many Zealots there were. He saw how many High Templar there were. Bearing in mind that GuMiho does not have Ghost. He does have a Ghost Academy, but no Ghost production yet. GuMiho has to be careful.
Mineral field
ready
depleted.
for a Doom Drop. Widowmine is coming in. And army towards the left-hand side. The scanner reveals the High Templar. GuMiho, he does see. He knows. How do we approach this? Yeah, we have a group of Marines. We chase down the High Templar. The Storms are forced out. And we break through. The base is going to fall. He scans. He sees the army. Doesn't commit with his drop. But that is a kill on the Nexus. GuMiho is going to stutter step the hell out of here. Does evacuate. And GuMiho is maxed out. NightMare falling behind in supply here. Losing a base. Again, I love that GuMiho, he scanned first before committing, which meant that he didn't throw away his army. Did check ahead of time. Pulling back, now getting into Ghost production. But I finally get shut down. Well, for the most part, GuMiho is in a good position. I mean, he's got a solid economy. We have a fusion core on the way that's going to be for Liberator range. Speaking of, more starports are being thrown down as well. +1 ship weapons, all to support Liberator production. And against a ground-toss army, Liberators, they are ideal. They can just bully NightMare back. NightMare is knocking down those rocks. Pushing towards the left-hand side. Oh, big storm here on the Marauders. Not bad, the flanking Storms. Again, we're looking for those EMPs from GuMiho. He's trying to go for a split push. NightMare's in position. GuMiho doesn't break in, but there it is, Liberator range in production, +2 ship weapons. No Liberators yet from our Terran player, but we're getting there. Meanwhile, as we're working towards Libs, Skytoss. Stargate is on the way. This is the beginning of Skytoss from NightMare, but it does feel like he's a little bit too late. Again, his 4th base, it took so long to get up and running. Without a 4th, we didn't really have the economy to sustain something like carriers. So everything was delayed for NightMare. So he tries to poke out. Has to be careful. GuMiho, he has map control. He's taking his half on the map. Getting his 5th. Well, NightMare stuck with 4 bases. Those EMPs. Oh! To get them on the Zealots and the Stalkers, but there's still 2 High Templar in that Prism. First Storm is wasted, or it gets spent. Does get baited out. But there's still more Storms available. GuMiho, he can't break this position yet, but there they are. Liberator production finally is underway. And with Libs, then GuMiho can be that much more proactive. Oh, tries to dive in. He can initiate engagements now with a little bit more of a backbone to his army. Good kiting against Zealots. Oh, every single Zealot going to be going down. There's a rough chase from NightMare. Even bleeding out a Stalker. Stargate is done. I believe there's still no Fleet Beacon. NightMare taking the center base. And how does GuMiho push in? Working towards the center. NightMare does have Storms. Here come the Libs. Freedom has arrived. We have some liberation. Tarts being thrown down behind this. NightMare trying to set up a surround. Ooh, big Storm on a portion of that army. That was 2 Storms. We have another. At the same time, we push on the right-hand side. We don't quite break in. The Liberators are reinforcing. Do bleed out a couple of SCVs. Once again, Storm from behind. Oh, but the turrets. Yeah, they do force the unload. Yeah, High Templar going to be going down. Now we only have to worry about Storms from one side. Speaking of, yeah, the Storms on the Liberators. NightMare collapsing on this army, trying to get the surround off, but the Colossus, no! The Colossus did overextend. One goes down, we spend most of our Storms, and we're pushing in. We are going to be pushing in here. GuMiho, he did bleed out some SCVs throughout the course of that. Checking our armies, we're down to 5 High Templar. 2 of them in the War Prism. Big Storms here once again. Yeah, GuMiho late to react. He still has a lot to work with. And the Liberators, they do reinforce once again, pushing back the army. Yeah, they're going to be able to deny mining here towards the center. Again, because this army's so marauder heavy, we can tank some Storms that we get. We just don't even care. We just take the Storms to the face. We stim on forward. Forcing out another Storm. And finally, GuMiho is gaining ground. Finally, he's pushing in. And NightMare, he's having a hard time stopping him. He lost so many Zealots earlier, and now there's none. How many Zealots do we have left? 0. 1 Zealot. 1 Zealot for NightMare. The base is falling. NightMare doesn't have much of a bank to work with, and this is the beginning of the end here for our Protoss player. It was a good effort. But GuMiho, he had the better economy throughout almost the entire game. He was able to establish his 3rd, his 4th, his 5th. Now he's on 7 bases. And NightMare is struggling. Oh, just dragging the army into those freedom zones. And again, behind this, GuMiho is just able to stay maxed, perpetually stay maxed out. A massive EMP on the Archons. Yeah, we just stim on forward. We shut down the army, focus out the Stalkers as well. And NightMare is going to lose everything here. The Nexus, the workers, the army. He's trying to chase this down, but he's one step behind. And GG gets called as GuMiho works his way towards the 4th, and GuMiho takes the series 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to GuMiho as he does take the series 2-1, advancing on to those finals. My condolences to NightMare, but again, NightMare did very well for himself. NightMare 2-0'd Cure, he 2-0'd Shin. He did not have an easy road to the semis, but he does meet his end here at the hands of GuMiho. Congratulations. Congratulations to GuMiho. Again, his split pushes in the mid game were insane. He was doing such a great job at getting damage done, pulling NightMare apart, denying the fourth initially, and containing, and yeah, with that just had the superior economy. With that, had the better tech as well, was able to get into those Liberators. NightMare did feel like he was one step behind for a lot of that game, especially in the second half, I should say. And with that, we're getting into our grand finals. We're getting into our grand finals here.